Hola clase, it's me again. So remember we did the homework today. We reviewed the past participle participios pasados con sustantivos. And now what we're going to do is look at that second part of the sheet. So when we want to, basically when you want to express something, expresar algo que you have done, remember we use the presente perfecto. So we say something like, hoy no he comido el desayuno porque no he tenido hambre. And so in that case, we're saying today, you can fill this in with me. Today, I haven't eaten breakfast because I haven't been hungry. So we worked a lot on that. It's on the board. We had a quiz on it to talk about things that you have done in the recent past. So we're going to go a little farther with it now. ¿Qué ocurre cuando la acción está más lejos en el pasado? So if this action is farther in the past, we're going to use something called the PLUSCAMPERFECTO. So the PLUSCAMPERFECTO is saying something like that you had done something. So, por ejemplo, when I say cuando ella llegó, usually there's some kind of action in the past, like saying that something happened and then before that something else happened. Cuando ella llegó, we're saying when she arrived. Yo ya, and a lot of times we have this word ya, and that means already. It's muy importante en español. So we should know that word at this point. Ya is like already. So when I say yo ya me había duchado, so we're still using that past participle like we did before, like ado or ido or cho or to, and it stays the same for all the conjugations because you say like I have showered, he has showered, she has showered. I had showered. I had already showered. So what I'm going to suggest is that you draw a timeline. So you're going to draw like a little line like this. And this is the presente. And then we're going to go to the past beyond that. So we're going to put ella llegó. So there's always usually a past action and then something comes before it. And then you're going to say yo ya me había duchado. Hopefully for the visual learners, this is helpful. So you're going to have a past action like ella llegó, and then you're going to say something had already happened, like me había duchado. So for the forms for this, before we had as, hemos, habéis, han, but we're going to use the imperfect now, like we did with comía, comías, comía, comíamos, comíais, comían. So it's the same endings as the imperfect that we studied before, but it's a little different. So you're saying that you had. So you're saying like I had, you had, he or she had. You can write this if you want in the boxes. We had, y'all had, and they had. And then we're going to use our participio pasado, either an ado or an ido or a to or a cho if they're irregular. So let's look at some examples. So here we have, antes de Narden, yo había estudiado mates en otra escuela. So try to think about the translation for that one. Okay, and so before Narden, I had already studied math at another school. We could have said yo ya había. So we could have added that ya in there. I had already. Well, actually, already, if we don't put the ya in, the already doesn't work. So let's put that in the ya, and then it's already studied math. So we can think about this, the timeline again. We can be like, here's Narden in the past, like when you started at Narden. This is the presente. And then you're going to put in the very past, you say, ya había estudiado mates. So there's two actions. It's a little farther in the past than saying that you have done something, you had done something. So basically for this next one, había llegado ella cuando comenzamos a comer. So we could do the timeline for this one too. You can write it down here if you want. If it doesn't make sense to do the timeline, it's okay, but I'm just doing it just to show you. Presente. And then comenzamos a comer. We had started eating. And then we have farther in the past, ella había llegado. She had arrived before we started eating. So what is our translation for that? Take a second and think about it. So we have had she arrived when we started eating. So it's had done something, not have. It's pretty similar to what we studied, but just a little farther in the past. Let's do one more together. ¿Habías visto Encanto antes de verlo en mi casa? So we're going to say, had you seen? So basically you saw that the past action, so we can say this, we could do that again. So we have the presente here. And then viste Encanto en mi casa. So we know that you saw it in my house. And then before that, though, had you seen it before that? So then we're going a little farther in the past, and that's where habías visto Encanto, before my house. So that's a little rundown of doing the PLUSCAMPERFECTO. If you can do the next three on your own, if you want to work with a partner and just figure out what you think those translations are. If for homework, my request for homework is that you write 3 sentences. Just write 3 sentences saying what you had done yesterday before doing something else. And I'll give you an example. So your homework is to write 3 sentences saying what you had done yesterday before doing something else. So I can say something like, ayer yo ya había comido antes de dormir. So I'm just going to say something like that. So yesterday I'd already eaten when before going to bed, antes de dormir. So there's an example. So for your homework, just write 3 sentences saying yesterday what you had done before doing something else. You can say something like, yesterday before coming to school, I had already eaten breakfast. So there you go. That's it, clase. Do your best to write those sentences and nos vemos pronto. Gracias.